Hello, it's Davey Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas, where I run the jazz guitar program. Benedetto artist, Sunnyside Records artist. Got my Sunnyside CDs up here. There's 4 that are out now, and a new one is on the way. Going to be mixed and mastered very soon. Got 2 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, and the brand new Into the Labyrinth, An Anatomy of Position, Playin for Jazz Guitar. And I just got back from the Rocky Mountain Archtop Guitar Festival. Kudos to Peter Henriksen, and gosh, so many people, for Peter for organizing it, putting it all together, everybody at Benedetto. Probably by the time you watch this video, it'll be a few weeks or a month after the festival, but it was a great time. Got to reconnect with some old friends. Shout out to Teddy Ludwig. Got to play with Howard Alden. What else? Did a clinic, did a solo gig, solo concert. Too much happened to really go into, but it was an amazing time. And looking forward to next year. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about Infant Eyes, Wayne Shorter ballad. You know, one of his deepest ballads. You know, with Wayne Shorter's music, there's so much depth. There's so many tunes. I think this one stands out, even in his amazing repertoire of compositions. He recorded it on Speak No Evil. This is one of several tunes I've done videos on from Speak No Evil. I recently did Dance Cadaverous. Yeah, this one, man. So Ron Carter, Elvin Jones is playing brushes, I think, most of the time. Herbie Hancock and Wayne. It's deep, y'all. It's a deep song. I love the intro, too. You know, Herbie plays some really cool piano stuff. I didn't transcribe everything he played, but I bet you could find it on the internet. Herbie's piano solo has been transcribed. I just Googled, Herbie Hancock piano solo, Infant Eyes, and boom, somebody had written it out. Because, he gets real deep with the harmony. But then I love how Wayne, he just hits like a low C, and then this C, and then the melody of the tune. Anyway, so, I looked at this chart of the song. I'm not anti-chart. Obviously, if you have a lead sheet for a song, you should check it with the recording to make sure it's legit. And I actually found one that was pretty good. I found an instrument that had the key signature of E flat or C minor. And I'm not sure if this tune is in E flat or B flat, honestly. It's kind of like that in-between place. So it's funny, the track that I played with, at the very end, it like resolves to an E flat chord, and I don't know what to think about that. Then again, there's another really great recording of this from Joshua Redman on the album Walking Shadows. I just discovered this recently, and man, this album is beautiful. It's got strings, it's got Blade and Larry Grenadier and Brad Meldau and Joshua Redman. He plays soprano on this song. It's a little bit faster tempo. It's still a ballad, but more of a walking ballad. And at one point, I think it's the last A section, they put everything over E flat, maybe suggesting that the song is in E flat. It's really interesting. It gives it almost like a Naima kind of vibe. Maybe I'll do a video on Naima at some point. But anyway, let's go through the harmony. Starts off with a G minor, then to F minor, then E flat major. And so you're like, okay. Not that unusual. And then this is the kicker, A13 flat 9. And this always messed me up as a youngster trying to play this tune, because then from that A13 flat 9, G flat major 9. So G minor, F minor, E flat major, A13 flat 9, that you would think, okay, well maybe that's a 5 of A flat, coming from sort of standard Tin Pan Alley harmony. You could think, okay, here's the 1, and then there's a tritone sub, like it's going to go to the 4. I don't know, that could be. There's probably a song or several songs that do that, but he goes. The G flat. Then to F sus, and there's a lot of sus chords in this song, and I think that's part of the magic of this tune and the depth of it, is the blues, and not the blues in the sense of like the blues scale or the blues form, but somehow there's like some really deep blues feeling in this song. So when he goes to F9 sus, it's like a, you know, a major chord, I mean a dominant chord, but it's not, you think it's going to be minor, you almost want it to be minor, but it's not. And so there's this tension between major and minor going through the song. So G minor, F minor, E flat major, A13 flat 9, G flat major, F7 sus, E flat minor, and then B flat 7 sus. So it almost feels like it's resolving to that B flat, but it's a B flat sus chord with, you know, dominant 7. But of course, in, you know, in blues harmony, the dominant chord can be the 1 chord, or it's, you know, the flat 7 is one option on a 1 chord in a blues, right? Some blues tunes, you know, the 1 chord's like a 6. But so the A, that's the A section, and then it goes to B flat dominant, like B flat altered to go into the B. And this tune is interesting because it's like A, B, A, and they're 3 9-bar phrases, which also gives it like a folky quality. Because I find like a lot of folk songs, if you go back, I mean, in different contexts, I think sometimes you'll hear 5-bar phrases and 9-bar phrases, and it's like that extra phrase is where the singer or the person telling the story kind of takes a breath or gets ready to tell you the next phrase. I think going back and listening to some recordings of Scarborough Fair, where, again, I should probably look this up before I made this video, but I remember there's like an odd number of odd phrase length, and it's kind of like the line ends, and then there's a measure to get ready for the next phrase. So it's almost like that in this song. So one more time for the A section. G minor. Also, you know, the melody has these perfect fourth lines, and it's really cool. F minor, E flat major, A13 flat 9. But then, you know, even the melody, even though it's a 13 flat 9, there's an F natural kind of pickup to A flat for the next part of the melody. G flat major, F9 sus, E flat minor, B flat sus, and then B flat altered, or like E over B flat, something like that. And then the bridge, you have this pedal, E flat major, and then like an E major triad over E flat, almost like Green Dolphin Street, like a reverse Green Dolphin Street. And then an F triad over E flat. So you have this, you know, Green Dolphin Street might have had like, you know, E flat major, F over E flat, E over E flat, F major. This one goes E flat major, E over E flat, E major triad over E flat, then F major triad over E flat. Did I say that right? Yeah, sometimes I get confused. And then to an E major, then a B major, cool little fourth melody again, B flat 7 sus again, right? And it's definitely, you almost want it to be minor. Or when I first played this song, I wanted those chords to be minor, and I was hearing them being minor. And somehow that would make it more maybe classically correct, if you will. But it's not. It's B flat dominant, sus chord, then A flat minor, then a little echo there on the A flat minor resolving to E flat. You almost want it to be E flat minor, but it's E flat dominant, or E flat sus, somewhere in between. But definitely when people are blowing on it. Well, I say that, and then the Josh Redman record, I remember like, at that point of the song where it's E flat sus, he kind of plays some different stuff in there. I think he kind of makes it minor and then makes it major, and he does some different things. But it's E flat sus on the original recording, and then you have that extra bar, that 9th bar, they give you a D7 to get back to G minor. So a nice little 5-1. So one more time on that bridge: E flat major, E triad over E flat, F triad over E flat, E major. E major, B major, jump the gun on that melody, B flat 7 sus, A flat minor, E flat 7 sus, D7, and then the last A, pretty much the same, G minor, F minor, 7 sus, E flat minor 7. I love that. The melody's a little different at the end because the first time it's, but the last time he wants to remind you like there's some blues sentiment at the very least, and then that B flat 9 hangs for an extra bar, so that it's 9 bars again. B flat dominant sus. So yeah, a lot going on there. And like I said, as a child, yeah, I was a child. I remember like trying to play this tune in high school at Noka, probably because we did a lot of Speak No Evil tunes with Clyde Kerr, and just honestly just flipping through the real book. I think this one was in the original real book. I can't remember. Maybe not. Anyway, but I could get with this made a lot of sense to me. G minor. Okay, I got that. F minor. And there's no 5-1 to E flat, but I can get to E flat, right? And that's all kind of, I guess you could see why they said it's in the E flat key, because that's like 3, 2, 1 in E flat. Although I don't know. I almost feel like this tune is sort of modal in a sense. It's one of those tunes. Some of my favorite tunes are like that, where like Wayne Shorter's music, that it's tonal for a while and then it's modal and then it's deceptive a lot of the time. He likes to trick you with the dominant. You're like, okay, 5, 1, nope, psych, it goes somewhere you can't even predict. So and there's that A13. And one thing I think about, these days when I'm trying to get an A13 flat 9 to go to G flat, I think about the fact that, A13 flat 9, one way to think about it is that it's a G flat triad or an F sharp triad over A. So in that sense, if you play off that sound, then when G flat comes, you're already on a G flat triad. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll play just those notes of an A triad and a G flat triad combined. So I'll play like F minor, E flat major, and then maybe use the G flat part of that, triad pair to get me to G flat, and then bring in that F natural. That's not really part of, say, like the half-whole diminished scale, A half-whole diminished, which would be maybe the most obvious choice, some chord scale choice for that chord. Then I'm already on G flat when it comes, and I can make that resolve. And then, the F9 sus. On a lot of these sus chords, when I'm playing on this tune, I like to do these sort of intervallic groups of notes, like maybe F, B flat, C in different octaves, and maybe bring in the major third against that. Oops. I don't really play that often, so sometimes my fingers will slip around, but and then make it bluesy. It's real particular sounds that I go for on this song, and it took me a long time to select from all the possibilities the sounds that I really think are correct for what I'm trying to say on this song. And I guess in a larger sense, that's what I try to do with all these, with every song I play, but particularly these really complicated modern jazz tunes. Now when I play them, like the possibilities are, I know what they all are, but I've honed in on specific things that I want to say. So the F9 sus, then E flat minor, kind of like a Dorian sound. B flat again, I might go. That intervallic thing where maybe I'll play B flat, E flat, F in different octaves or some combination of intervallic-y sounding thing like that, and then bring it to a B flat 7 altered, because that's the last chord of the A section. And B flat super Locrian or some triad thing with B flat and E. Protesting after that, playing so much solo guitar over the weekend. My hands like, ah. So that takes you to the bridge, where you have this kind of reverse Green Dolphin Street, or I don't know, maybe Naima sounding kind of thing. Everything over an E flat pedal. So you can kind of chord scale this out if you want. E flat major or E flat Lydian. You can even make it the first chord. often I'll play, not really playing a 7-note scale, I'm kind of playing like a G minor pentatonic. Maybe I'll put an E flat in there too. I often end up with these 6-note combinations. And I've said this before, I'm not sure if it's a major scale with a note subtracted or a pentatonic scale with a note added, but... And then this, you know, E triad over E flat, I'm definitely thinking like a E flat minor pentatonic. I guess if you had to come up with a chord scale for it, you know, what is it? I guess it's E Lydian. Of course, E flat's in the bass, so it's the... So they're going to get confused. I guess that's E flat Phrygian, right? At a certain point, my fingers just know where to go, and then my brain gets a little foggy when I have to give it the name that it's supposed to get. And then F triad over E flat, I know that one. That's E flat Lydian. But again, I might just play off of. That might be a good place for a little, since we're doing some triad pairs on this one, like an E flat and F triad. But I have to be careful with that because sometimes to me, like if I play too many triad pairs, it starts to sound like the sax part in The Heat Is On. I don't know why that always jumps in my head, but Bob Seger. Beverly Hills Cop or Miami Vice or something. Anyway, I digress. So E flat major, E flat Phrygian, or like a D sharp minor, E flat minor pentatonic with some notes added if you want. E flat Lydian, and then up to an actual E major 7. Although on that Joshua Redman record, I think they keep E flat in the bass through here on the solo in some parts. So kind of creates a little more tension. But when that E major comes, when the E's in the bass, again, that's kind of E Lydian, because then it goes to B major. It's definitely like B major as a 1 chord. If you had to give it a name, you could say B Ionian. But again, I'm basing a lot of this on a E flat minor pentatonic or D sharp minor pentatonic. Then we got B flat sus again. Make it bluesy, you know. A flat minor. I think this is actually a transposition from the A section where you have F9 sus, E flat minor, B flat 7 sus. Here you have B flat sus, A flat minor, E flat. So it's the same thing, up a 4th, down a 5th. So you got E flat minor, and then you resolve back to E flat 9. Then a D7 to take you to the last A section, which is the same as the first, except that you hang out on B flat sus for 2 bars at the end. And man, like I said, I've gotten very specific in what I improvise on in general in my playing, and that's kind of in the new book. I try to really give you the shapes that I use, even beyond like the chord scale choices or harmonic choices. Like this is when I'm in this part of the neck, this is what I'm playing over, kind of thing. So if you're interested in more of that, check out the new book. But I love Wayne Shorter's solo on this song. It's so, and the interaction between Herbie and Wayne on the record reminds me of those later like duos that they would do, where it gets real chromatic and loosey-goosey, and I love it. But there's some stuff that Wayne plays that to me is so such deep, like kind of blues that he's playing over the song. I mean, he's not really like running the changes. And then on the other hand, the Joshua Redman, I think, has that blues as well, but he's like the harmonic stuff and the playing of the changes is really, really cool as well. And then the Herbie solo, like I said, if you Google Herbie Hancock piano solo Improvising, you can check that out. He puts a lot of like wild notes on the chords and changes things around, and it's really hip. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna play 1 chorus on this thing because it's pretty long. I keep the tempo. Maybe I'm somewhere between Wayne and Joshua Redman. I don't like to do it quite as slow as Wayne Shorter did, but I love this song. It's super deep, y'all, so hope you enjoy it. Improvising.